Welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D collective. To those who are whole hearts, mindfully living and loving Christ consciousness, we began with our short true healing comes with feminine and masculine empowered, a whole self integration and secure attachment. And so that's the self empowered human being who has child parts that are sleeping. The ones who do not want to heal, we know who they are and we know where they're going to go. And therefore, Robert Sapolsky, thank you, for you have shared with us that we don't have free will, and we will have learned from the smart therapists, neuroscientists, and all. There's no Lucifer in the body of any of those who do not learn to be in their 0 1 year old attached panicky, 3 to 7, shame submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11 12, and fight 14 15 16. So those who do not learn how to harness their higher self and get those child parts uncharged, well, it is what it is. They won't know true love, although they think they will. Let me read to you. We will be talking about the empowered feminine here, 5D mystic, and true love, passion, romance, intimacy, and genuine relationships, how they are built, just about this and that stories. That's in our next episode. So tune on in later if you want. Meantime, I will read to you, and I will also be using a couple of Sadhguru's quotes and more than just him. Fear and ignorance, they are always together. Clarity of knowing releases one from fear. Yes. So people who are like the fancy woman and man in suit, they're the perfect example of what fear looks like, because they're a modulated embodiment with a dysregulated embodiment. So their nervous system does not know anything about their first 3 years of gooiness, and they are armored shut with the dark sides of neuroplasticity. So their subconscious is what we get to hear about, and all the stories that they come up with is very unfortunate. I know about their shame, blame, fault, revenge, envy, jealousy, spite, all of that, which is harboring resentment, and just the stories are like, wow, that's what happened at home for you. That interpretation is really fascinating. That's how it works. So there's again a group for everyone. Our group likes to stay grounded in our humanity, so we have the bilateral integration, vertical, all of it, and that's why mindfulness practices are great, and mindset skills are awesome even more, because you love sifting through this. Also mindset and the inner growth. So you love to be yourself, the true one. Okay, not the pretenders. We know who they are. Again, they in fact don't know peace. Peace is not the highest goal in life. It is the most fundamental requirement. Yeah, they don't know inner peace because they don't know their state of safety. Like the fancy woman and man in suit. They don't know that inherently, yes, non-reactivity is your health by far, because you get to live eustress. I know all about it. Also, it is enlightenment. I know all about that too, as a mystic and somebody in the enlightenment soul age group. So pure consciousness is very clear with God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, but also with clairs. And when I began to have what are also known as spiritual gifts, or that neuroscientists and biologists and quantum physicists look into, I'm not confused. In fact, I have so many fun stories. The next episode, we're going to have some of that. Okay, so with that, I also wanted to share a quote from lovely Joanne Borisenko, PhD. You are looking into your eyes and accepting yourself for the precious being that you are now. With having gone through all those layers of judgment and pain, and then accepting your adult self into your heart. And when you are an inner child adult and your child parts are sleeping after good therapy for those who needed that, that's when you get to come and again enjoy self-empowerment land. 5D Collective, welcome aboard. That's why we do know forgiveness, we do know passion, and we know a lot about how to basically build authentic, genuine relationships, because we're not afraid to be ourselves. So you have the thread to your vessel. That's your heart. Your insula is activated, therefore, and your heart is open to the truth of you as yourself whole and as part of all that is. You do know that you can't build a truly loving relationship if you cannot speak your heart's truth because of fear of rejection, abandonment, injustice, betrayal, humiliation, and or shame. That's why people go to Patrick Tiahan, childhood therapist, and or Terry Real. You get out of all that. Then you're going to start to romance, because you're going to take a leap of faith, and if it's a no, it's okay. You're going to learn, because now you're aware, accountable, regulating in a state of safety. You're choosing to be the higher self version of you, not your teenage version. No more threat response, okay? You also know that you cannot build a life or lovership from a place of authenticity. Okay, if your mind, heart, body, self, yeah, they harbor resentment, suffering narratives, any of that, I'm gonna give you 80% because they broke my heart before. It's like my teenage boyfriend when he cheated. I said this. I said, I don't think I'm gonna be checking in on you. That's not how it works. If you break my trust in this way, I just won't be with you because that would mean I don't trust you. But to not trust you, I use that word in time to time differently. But the reality is, I only care if I can physically trust you, and I really don't have to do that. I'm not living in a war. So the reality is, even if you backstab me, I just know what happens to those who are cowards. They don't go get their trauma healed. Like my facade friends. He's a backstabber, but he's my friend. And I learned thanks to him how I wouldn't present to anybody what backstabbing looks like at a certain point. Just talk to them like you usually do. Empowered feminine here. So again, you can't build life from a place of authenticity, love, and truth if your mind, heart, and body and self harbor resentment or suffering narratives. If you don't own the sense of self, so if you don't own your inner self, and then when you're in relational self, yeah, you need core narrative relational soul self to be yours so that you don't change it up when you're around a crowd and basically do a 360 on me because your friends peer pressured you. Yeah, no, you're still influenced by them as a grown up. Yeah, you're still a teenager, which is why teenagers do say stuff like that. My friends made me do cocaine, is what this one person told me as a 50 however year old me. That's like, okay, one, they're not your friends because you're not doing well. In my head, I'm thinking, but they didn't make you. Like when my facade friend said she made me lie to you. And I said, did she hold a gun to your head? Because see, when I have friends, I'm not going to hold it back. That's why a feminine doesn't say, let me lie to you. No, if you're my friend, I'm going to tell you exactly how I think it. And as my friend said, I'm like, you're making up more excuses. How about you just own up to you chose? And let's continue talking. Okay, so people don't appreciate facades when they are authentic, but I learned thanks to my friend how to completely leave it alone because facades, like my friend, they will not be saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm not taking ownership of my subconscious and conscious. No, they actively marry their unfinished business. They live out their 0 to 8 year old. And that's why when I hear the fancy woman and man in suit, I'm like, huh, okay, wow, scary home again, some more scary home. Shit, that's horrible. Oh, fuck, that's even more. I'm thinking about my college years now with all the, oh, wow. So that's what happens. An empowered feminine is not going to be like, let me point out to you that you have no idea what's going on because even when you do, they don't actually take any of it. Okay, so again, not building life from a place of authenticity, not building love, not building truth if you use blame, fault, revenge, envy, jealousy, spite, and heartbroken emotional charges as part of your fuel or any trauma charges and or any of those stereotypes and generalizations that people will say all men are this, all women are that, which is why a bare man thing goes viral because people are like, you know, with biases that they're not owning in their brain, like with the environment. I mean, feel like, no, it's not true that it is. So anytime you have teenagers, non-bilaterally integrated people who are Elsa, they are just fooling themselves and others to think that they're building truly loving relationships and an authentic life from their heart, the thread to their vessel, because they actively have an insula that's downregulated. When your modulated embodiment and dysregulation, the teenager version of you is in a threat response. In fact, on that note, actually, let me read you something that I forgot that I had from lovely Stephen Porges and NICABM. They have some amazing infographics. Let me see. Here we go. So this one right here, I'll show you in just a second if it loads. It's going to load. Come on, you can load. There we go. Okay, here we go. Go and, well, NICABM. Look up applying the 3 circles model of emotion, and it's to help clients heal shame. So the infographic, according to Paul Gilbert, PhD, we have 3 types of emotion regulation systems. Well, and Stephen Porges also talks about this stuff. And so we have the drive system, achieve goals, consume, accomplish tasks. We have the soothing system, slow down, soothe, rest, and digest, safeness and kindness and care. And then we have the threat system, manage threats, protection, survive, seek safety. And the infographic says, although we might not realize it, many of us spend the majority of our time in threat and drive, which can lead to imbalanced emotions and distress, which is why mindfulness practices and mindset skills support people to live eustress, not distress. Which is why the fancy woman and man in suit, they don't know what they're talking about because they are leading in a vessel that is not in a state of safety. In fact, they don't know how to do social engagement system with the emotional plane in the emotional depth because they didn't get their first 3 years back online, or their 8. They don't have their subconscious, and their child parts are not uncharged. They're leading with their fight response. Their 16-year-old is how I'm going to break it down to you. Remember, I'm the pseudoscience lady. I learn from smart people, but I learn, and I'm a human, and I, as a person, even without the mystic stuff, can tell you it's amazing to be in your restorative embodiment and to be mindfully aware of everything all the time. And with spirituality, it's even more awesome because you're always imbued by that which is a sacred love, unconditional of God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, universe, heaven, infinity. And for the sciences, they just call it restorative embodiment. So that's why we have an edge. The ones of us who have blind faith and grace and fun. Empowered feminine here, not the distorted one. Yeah, they don't have fun. So it can be important to notice if your soothing system is underdeveloped. Thank you. Yes, in fact, in order to help you get a sense of where you might be out of balance, your practitioner may ask you to imagine how big each of your circle is. In our masterclass, we practice something different that is a lot more involving of you learning to recognize with Stephen Porges in mind, although that one's a good one too. So again, let's not fool ourselves. When we're around the facades, we know that they are going to be their 0-8-year-old with a 16-year-old. It's okay, but they're not empowered feminine or empowered masculine, so they will not be love, passion, romance, intimacy, genuine relationship built with an empowered feminine and or self, because they don't know what true love means. It's I will feel deeply, speak deeply, think deeply, and not lie to you, and then I'm a consistent, contingent communicator. This is when the till death do part, sickness and in health actually is a true meaning, from the level of the soul to the level of the heart to the level of the mind to the level of the self, which is only if you have a mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy self-worth human being who knows how to be, like Terry Real would say, a functional adult. So you know how to love yourself first. Otherwise, you don't know any of what I just spoke, which is what a lot of people who finish and marry their unfinished business. And so they get to heal together. And then the ones who need Terry Real, they go to Terry Real, and so on and so forth. We are here as the empowered feminine masculines. And again, that's for all to build a 5D collective. We learn to speak from our own heart without being afraid to be our true self, and we learn to navigate the thread to our vessel. Why, might you ask? Because you are mindfully and spiritually using the inner growth mindset, and mindfulness practices and approaches and lifestyle choices to allow the awareness of the heart and mind and body and self and soul, for those of you who know soul, to harmonize and to come together as one from within you in your state of safety, nervous system response, the ventral vagal state, as you do thoughts and emotions and look for them to become softer. That's where you learn how to not ruminate and to use prefrontal. We have a Zen master who doesn't know how to do this, but those of you who do, with one-to-one mentorship or because you are practicing it, I believe in the power for you to recognize this because it is your birthright. I know that the ones who hear, they will, if you are called to yourself and you're saying, yes, I want me, you're going to learn, because you will feel sensations the same way I do. And then you'll spot those things that are your threat. And then you say, okay, I don't want to be my threat. I want to be here, because you're wanting it. The choo-choo train that makes it over the hump. Okay, so you are in this way in a physiological mind, heart, body, self state of compassion, and you're not rejecting compassion. And you're not rejecting unconditional love. The state of compassion opens you up to unconditional love, the unconditional love that heals all. It opens you up to the depths of your core self that recognizes, as part of you and your humanity, as well as our entire lovely species, that we are here as imperfect, flawed human beings. And then that loving sacred force that every human body, heart, mind, self, and soul for those of you who, again, use soul, will recognize you're meant to be enveloped by this and know it in life. That's the restorative embodiment. And if you're not afraid of it, because you now know, if I'm afraid of unconditional love, it's because I didn't have a safe 1-year-old. I didn't have a safe 2. I didn't have a safe 3. I didn't have a safe. So you're aware of where that is. That's why integration is happening, because you're like, my inner self with relational self and with the world feels unsafe here because my years didn't begin where I had a state of safety with love in and of itself. And that's with the self-awareness and the desire to become your whole self mindfully spiritual. You will be here. That's who I'm here for, is the ones who want to be here. The ones who want to drag pain points around and do it half-assed, they're not going to be here. And that's okay. They don't have to. They can stay in their modulated, dysregulated. They are not Lucifer. They're just like that fancy man and woman in suits, just speaking their subconscious out to the whole world to see and hear. For those of us who hear it, it's determined. What's up, Robert Sapolsky? No free will. So the sacred force that envelopes you in your state of safety and ease with being yourself mindfully, spiritually, asks nothing of you in return and simply nudges you to follow that which calls your heart with a mind, heart, body, self, and soul that are on the same page, thanks to you being yourself, an inner child adult, aka functional adult, with all your child parts asleep, your higher self in the lead, and you in a state of eustress and fullness. Those men and women in fancy suits, how dare they not ask anything in return? They need to shame people. They need to do shit. They need to be reactive. Sure, fuck you. No, I don't say that to their face. I just don't want to be near any of them. Which is why, again, navigating the thread to your vessel and any true relationship is going to be with a person who knows how to love, live, laugh, and learn and expand. Oh, yes. And put mindfulness, mindset, and mindset practices, lifestyle choices into the mix. They cultivate truly loving relationships and a life that is true to the heart, because again, navigating the thread to your vessel means that you navigate your insula, so your mind and body. It's called somatic. So live and love as yourself with flaws and integrity, mindfully, spiritually. Join the 5D collective. Come on over. We are mystics, spiritual, and mindful, self-empowered, enlightened, functional, inner child adults who love to love, live, laugh, and learn. And we do not cast stones. No characterological distinctions or judgments. Nope. We just allow ourselves to know when we meet a facade, we know who they're going to be following, and then we're going to continue to instead hear all about 5D mystics, spiritual, self-help, mindful, living and loving stories, because I get to share them with you. And when the tiers are out for our subscription-based model content, you get to put into practice some stuff, or one-to-one mentorship. So again, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen. Thanks, Michael Jordan. And we get to be the healthy adult relationships with new stories that heal trauma for those who want it, of course. And that is why you choose to live in love, by being yourself mindfully, spiritually, with healthy self-worth, empowered and open to enlightening. And so you love to listen to your inner child from your prefrontal, then to have a deep relationship with the witnessing, processing, and the letting go of emotions and thoughts with other healthy self-worth human beings. Being in the present with all those child parts, all that stuff, and processing again. So the depths of emotional, mental, and physical intelligence calls to you. Being at peace with flaws and imperfections, when others will, in their hearts and eyes, say, yeah, and you'll be like, oh, I don't know, I'm gonna go. No, you don't do any of that. We're non-reactive, so we stay in a state of safety, and we have a good time, and we lead our relationships with healthy self-worth people, and we do not have shame, blame, fault, revenge, envy. We don't harbor resentment. We don't have doubt, fear of being ourselves, and we're okay with rejection. It can happen. We won't be in any of that, oh my God, I hope they get their karma back. You know what? I can't wait for them to see me as I'm... No, none of that. Those are distorted feminines and masculines all together as they get fueled by this stuff, which is really unfortunate. Like that fancy man and woman in suit, they're fueled by their own trauma. They give you stories from their own implicit memory. Doesn't have words, but it has images, and then those, again, lacking self-awareness completely, because they don't notice that their nightmares are not ours. It's theirs from their childhood. They won't admit it. We don't make them. So again, lead our lovely lives with the embodiment of what we are. Unconditional love, pure consciousness, Purusha. Unconditional love equals also the pure energy. Prakriti, your whole 3-year-old, is lovely. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. For love may come and tap you on the shoulder on some starless night. You may just want to hold her, him, or they, and now you have a pocket full of starlight. So we're going to get ready for our next episode. Tune on in later.